Hello and welcome to Game 2 of my series against PerroPerro. This game was played on April 25th. Uh, in this matchup, I decided to give uh, my tricolor deck one more try after getting upset the first game versus his mono blue. Um, this deck from PerroPerro is kind of OD Splash, which uses, you can see, Time of Triumph, um, as well as, conscriptor draws to get sort of value out of OD. You can see we deployed really quickly here. I have kind of an okay starting hand, especially for this matchup. So my options are pretty much just to play Path of Cunning and Tussed Grunt, but that itself will push a lot of damage to the tower, assuming that I don't get dueled or something else. But since Sorla's up against Troll, the duel is useless here, and I'm free to just go ahead with this play. Unbeknownst to me, he does not have anything to play in his hand other than Courier. At the time, I was a little worried, that something would come out to counter this, but in the end, this was like the obvious play and drilled 11 damage here. Meanwhile, on the combat side of things, you know, this is just fine. Like he decided to counter Underlord, but not really a big deal. Um, Managed to get 20 gold thanks to Sorla, so I'm able to just put SF in a place where he can, farm gold. Um, I opted to make sort of an unusual move here, putting SF in this lane. The reason for that is that I've drawn Assault Ladders, and I knew he'd kept initiative the whole time, and I basically didn't want Shadow Fiend to get dueled down. Like I knew in round one that there wasn't any dual targets that he wanted, so I suspected duel coming down, and that's why I put both black heroes here. Um, and it really paid off because, frankly, like a typical deployment here is, one with Omni Knight next door. Um, Unfortunately, he ends up playing clear the deck, which he can only do thanks to OD here. Um, Quite an unusual move. Usually, that's something that you play with Tidehunter, but here he gets a lot of value out of it, regardless. Um, Still, given the first two rounds, I've gone ahead and already managed to get a lot of value out of this tower is already taken down below half. Here I go ahead and I'm worried about this 9 damage in the tower. So I go ahead and just deploy Tide next to Troll, which will just immediately stop his ability to do damage here. I'm confident that over time I'm just going to be able to come back here and clean it up. Um, so I go ahead and play this card. I'm also wanting to play Unearthed Secrets mid. So things are pretty straightforward. I mean, unfortunately, like he's gone ahead and bought the Magic King Mall. So he's gonna take down what would be like a very quickly won lane here if he let these all stay up. Um, so I mean that's kind of keeping him alive in this game. Without this purchase, he would just have totally been lost. But again, I'm pretty happy. The one unfortunate thing is that he's going to be in a position where he can duel my Shadow Fiend. Although I guess my Shadow Fiend has enough life to live through this, so I'm doing pretty well there actually. So I should be able to just set Shadow Fiend in his natural place with Omni Knight. Um, in turn, I've gone ahead and put Underlord. It's kind of making it questionable for him to be able to burn Ravage, since he won't be able to actually get, a lot of value out of it. Now he's just kind of questioning, like, what he can do. Like, as far as duel, he could duel this away, or he could duel this, or instead just play overpower. I mean, I would prefer to kill this, but, I didn't really have a choice. At this point, I do now have a choice to actually kill this. I can play Fey Finder, and my other option is really just, Atrophy Aura. So I probably want to play both of these in some format. I'm not sure what else, is going to be done. I'm really trying to decide where I should put my Stonewall Cloak. Um, so I do Atrophy Aura just to slow this down a bit. And I do play the Wayfinder to kill the troll and take some damage into the tower, as well as buff this path up a little bit higher. Um, I'm not terribly worried about mid lane. I think his heroes are dropping low. Um, next turn I'll have 3 Necromastery charges as well as the amulet and a heal. So there's a good chance that I'll be able to just kill Ursa here. Maybe a little questionable move to put this Stonehold Cloak down for initiative because you know the initiative really could have helped me out in terms of possibly just triggering Necromastery and killing this right away. Um, it's RNG based, but you know pretty good chances. Here I leave things up to counterplay. In this case, he opts to just kill my left lane, meaning that I can take the RNG if I want. Um, Other than this RNG play, I can Wayfinder and stuff like this. So RNG pays off for me here. Um, he's gonna have time to triumph next turn, but for now he can just only stall a little bit further. Um, he opts to stop damage to third lane. Here I definitely want to play Fey Wayfinder first so I can get a useful card in mid. Um, I mean, Rest really takes these guys completely out of the picture as far as, possible health things. And I just, you know, go ahead and use one of my repels here to get initiative. I mean, in retrospect, this was a misplay, really. I haven't really considered that he's played few cards all hand, and that since this is like a red ramp deck, it's going to have 3 Time of Triumph in it. Um, we'll see that this really complicates the game for me, like this particular self-repel. I mean, the reason I did it though was honestly I wanted the initiative for Tidehunter to be able to ravage right, which in itself was very important. Otherwise this lane would die to no hesitation or some other method. Whereas simply by ravaging, I make sure that he has to it stays alive one more round, and he also has to commit to it next round in order to remove the blocker that's going to show up here. Um, So, maybe it is just worthwhile to run this the way that I did in game. I mean, it's a difficult decision, I think. Um, So yeah, it's described like, the plan was to ravage and the ravage comes in. Um, I didn't really get anything too useful to play over here, um, in terms of just dealing more damage because I'm going to end up being, short. I get 6 plus 2, 8, and 10 here with trebuchets. Um, I do have the one repel, which is going to allow me to cancel one time a triumph, but if I had saved it last round, then I would have been able to cancel both. Um, Again, I just can't say for sure whether this was the right decision or not. I think they would both be good decisions, to be honest. Like whether I had, opted to save repel or you know, to use it. Regardless, I was not sure which of these I wanted to repel because Shadow Fiend is staying alive, regardless, and ultimately I just decided to repel this to keep Shadow Fiend, very healthy and actually remove one of these Time of Triumph heroes. Um, I was considering spelling this since it would have removed another 3 damage from tower. Um, Spy Phase was a difficult choice. I do just opt to go ahead and get the hook net, like not for its side benefit or anything, but just purely in order to um, just deal with a little bit more damage since like we're in a situation where every little bit of damage essentially is going to potentially be pivotal. I mean, so the ending of play with repel, you know, let me easily deal with Tideturner there. Um, so really a situation where I have a win on the board in mid lane. Um, I need more cards, so I'm pretty happy that he didn't do anything which immediately would have killed my heroes. I mean, I guess it was very difficult for him to actually kill the heroes in the circumstances. They both have 10th health. Um, I'm not really sure what I, feared happening there, but regardless, I was pretty happy. Um, so in this circumstance, I'm going to play Remes Blessing from the center because I want to activate the new Onerous Secrets. Because at this point in the game, I need, more cards. Particularly, Remes can give me basically another Grunt or a Repel usually, or a Trebuchet actually. Any of those are super useful at this point in the game. Um, so actually, a lot of the design in this deck is actually sort of focuses on these issues of ensuring that they're good one drops. So, I mean, unfortunately, I didn't really, it probably would not have mattered. Ended up having to go here for sort of a Hail Mary on no hesitation, realizing that, like, you know, both lanes were getting crushed, and now I guess he wants to come and try to save or push extra damage left. The problem being that at this point the tower is assured to die, and he can blink someone left, but he's just shy of damage on it. And I do just go ahead and block this anyway, just to make sure. And that just gives me the win. Um, so again, kind of similar to black decks in the qualifier. I consider red decks to be pretty easy for this deck, and you see why. The difference between like this deck and say a red deck or a black deck, those decks are combat focused, but they all include a lot of cards, that are focused around sort of forcing combat, you know, um, you know, duels, things like that. Whereas this deck, basically focuses more heavily on winning combats. You have your mess blessings and your paths and things like that, and you know, in that sense, I consider it kind of you know, really implicitly kind of a counter to these opposing sort of red and black decks. Um, it's like they can duel you or gank you to force combat, but usually you're just gonna win or at least tie the combat. You don't have high damage heroes, but you do have ways of getting damage essentially. So right, that does it for round two. Thanks for watching.